Mic check 1, 2. All right, get my outputs and my inputs in. Even though we live stream this every Tuesday, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, this is the Confidence Coaching Clinic live. No one tunes in at the beginning, which is fine because I love to have people jumping in and catching on to the conversation around the Confidence Coaching Clinic. We're here every Tuesday, live streaming on YouTube. We're doing live on the spot coaching with people who have to make tough decisions, people who are really vacillating with things that they have to deal with. I have executives, I have coaches, I have ministers, I have ex-athletes, I have executives who are making career transitions, I have people who are coming out of corporate America and attempting to translate that leadership experience that they've got, that subject matter expertise in some area, into authority and influence that they can monetize. I got news for you. The companies who are hiring you that you work for are already monetizing your IP. Here on the Confidence Coaching Clinic, I want to help activate your confidence so you can show up in a way that increases your yes energy, that you exude executive presence, that you become more persuasive and project confidence into others that you come in contact with. We can help you do that by a number of things. Go to YouTube, Rome Madison, follow us there, rate us 5 stars, and follow the Confidence Coaching Clinic. Hey, what's up? We're going to be talking about confidence and why confidence unlocks confidence. Why does your confidence unlock confidence in someone else? And I know there's been someone that you emulated or that you followed or that you admired that unlocked confidence in you. We're going to talk about it, and we're going to talk about why next on the Confidence Coaching Clinic. Let's go. Confidence unlocks confidence in others. Why is this important? Why do we know this? I love this quote. I believe this is by, well, I heard Bird Badgett, and I'm a fan of keynote speakers. I'm a fan of motivational speakers, if you want to call it that. I've known, I've followed, I've listened for years. I love quotes. But Bird Badgett, I heard him say that a good leader inspires other people with confidence in that leader. But a great leader inspires them with confidence in themselves. That's another level of leadership. The highest leadership skill that someone could develop or attain is the ability to inspire. The lowest level of leadership is your title, but you don't need a title to be a leader. We're talking about confidence and how confidence unlocks confidence in others. If you have a leadership title, people put their confidence in you because that's your responsibility, that's your position. So they respect your position because you give direction. You essentially call the shots in, at least in how their world operates when they show up to work or for your organization. But what is it that people do that make other people feel confident in them? What's the difference between someone who inspires people with confidence in them because of what they do and a great leader that inspires other people with confidence in themselves? Well, great leaders, as we just mentioned, touch other people with their words and their energy. They communicate confidence in a number of ways. because they communicate confidence in the way that they show up, in the way that they talk, in the way that they carry themselves, in the words they choose to speak, and the tone and intonation that they choose to deliver those words, they're able to stretch the vision that people have of themselves and what's possible for them in their lifetime, in their life, in their business. That's what great leaders do. Great leaders touch other people, and because of their energy, their words, their articulation, the people who those words and that energy lands on start to move differently because their vision has been expanded. And now they see themselves in a different light. They see themselves with the potential to do, to attain, to be, to achieve something that they don't currently have or they have yet to consider for themselves. Great leaders touch other people to take action through their words, their energies, their thoughts, their presence. And through that energy transfer, people take action. And that action creates energy in that person. It builds more energy, and the cycle just continues. So when we're confident that we're going to succeed in a required task, let's say working in the context of a team, when we're confident that we will succeed because we believe in the vision, the person who's leading us, the person who's leading us usually does not do the work. Usually the person, it's not like Napoleon leading, his army across the Alps. It's not that. It's usually the leader that stands and delivers a message where people can see a larger vision of what's going to change, what's going to happen differently as a result of them going all in on whatever it is the leader is articulating. Even if they don't know how they're going to do the task, because that leader inspires a vision inside of them of their success, not just the organizational success, the big picture they're able to see. But what makes a leader great is you can paint that bigger picture, but you can paint it in a way that the people receiving the message also have a vision for themselves that aligns with the bigger vision. That is what makes them go all in, giving more of themselves, their talents and skills to make that leader's vision a reality. So there's three different ways that great leaders exude confidence that inspire confidence in other people. So the first one is they model confidence. Everyone's had a parent or a mentor, a teacher actually teach you, show you, model how to do something. And because you see it done, you know that you can follow certain steps. Children believe in their parents. I mean, we children learn by they come to the earth a clean slate, and because they see everyone around them doing, they believe with integrity deep inside of them that they can do it too. A baby goes from babbling to crying to talking to never shutting up, right? So, and it's all because the people around him, no matter where in the world that baby is born, language, culture, they believe they can talk because they see everybody else doing it. They see everybody else walking or moving around, and they have the desire to do it too. It's being modeled for them. Whose confidence has helped you believe in yourself? Back in the 70s, I know that many of you may be familiar with the legendary psychologist Albert Bandura, who pioneered the concepts of self-efficacy. Self-efficacy is is a person's belief that they have the capacity to succeed, and that belief that they have that capacity greatly influences how they act, feel, and they think. Going back to that philosophy, they just move differently, right? A person with high self-efficacy approaches challenges in a way that I've got to master this, because each attempt that they're not successful is one step closer to mastery. They understand how this process goes, while people with low self-efficacy tend to avoid something that they know they're not good at, so they don't experience the painful feelings of failure, rejection, inadequacy. But it's through modeled confidence that you observe or you hear someone, their deliberate actions, their deliberate move of demonstrating self-efficacy, that inspires that same energy in the hearts and minds of those who watch it. Throughout time, there example after example. I love an example of extreme confidence, unreasonable confidence, like a Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., a young minister in his 20s that led the civil rights movement. The norms of that time were for people of color, specifically Black people in the South, to bow down to norms and laws that were put in place to disenfranchise, to weaken, to not have freaking human rights. I mean, can we just say that, right? And through his unreasonable confidence and belief in love, the power of love, we don't have time to get into his philosophy that he learned from Mahatma Gandhi and passive resistance. But the core of it, it was driven by love for the other individual. And by him demonstrating that ability, that capacity, it increased the self-efficacy of others to put themselves in a position that they would not otherwise expose themselves to. He had to go to another place. But it's modeled for them, and they were able to achieve that. And now, less than 60 years later, a brother like me can walk around like a regular human and not be afraid to defend myself or stand up for myself. It's meaningful to me. I don't know about you. Now, this might not be a podcast. I'll never forget my early mentor in the field of precision medicine, Pat Coombs. You know, when I got into the field of precision medicine, I've talked about this on other podcasts. I think my last podcast I was self-taught. I went to Barnes and Noble's, Borders books, and I had to study oncology, the different types of cancer and how they were treated, diagnosed, and cured. At the time, there was only chemotherapy, and precision medicine was just born because we had sequenced the human genome and we were able to unlock new technologies that helped us personalize how we treat cancer patients. The philosophy of precision medicine was right drug for the right patient at the right time, and to not expose them to drugs where there was data that suggested they should not be exposed because they are not likely to respond to those drugs. How do you take that technology to the field when the norm for treating this disease was chemotherapy that these doctors have been practicing for decades in treating cancer? And the norm was, guess what? People die. What kind of confidence Could I have, being a self-taught non-MD, non-PhD, non-scientist, going in talking to these established doctors who treat cancer patients every single day, that there's a better way of doing things? Well, what was modeled for me was Pat Coombs. Pat believed, and he knew. He says, one of these days we're going to cure cancer, and the way we're going to do it is by molecular signatures. We're going to learn about DNA, and we're going to learn not to treat everybody like one shoe fits everyone, but we're going to personalize based on your molecular expression, because cancer is a disease of your DNA. So we need to look at the DNA level. That was over 20 years ago. He modeled for me having conversations with clinicians who knew very well how to treat a cancer patient. That was their subject matter expertise. But in the area that they did not know very much, when they did not have guidelines, when there wasn't well-defined standards for treating a patient, how do you make decisions? And we got them into the deep end and was threatening to drown these doctors because they knew they didn't have data to stand on, and we did. Showing people a new way of doing things by going in with that confidence and saying, yes, I know what you know, but I also know what you don't know. That has to be modeled, especially in this context with going in and changing how cancer is treated. Today, we've been able to revolutionize how we treat cancer patients. We've been able to, my goodness, extend life for lung cancer patients, metastatic melanoma, which is a skin disease. We've been able to essentially eradicate that and make that a chronic disease like blood pressure. And we're now able to talk about cancer prevention. There are previvors, people who know that they have increased risk, so they get earlier screening starting in their 20s, because these are the people who should get them. And you can prevent certain diseases, or at least catch them early when they're most treatable. 20 years ago, that was unheard of. But when you model behavior, when someone models behavior for you that you want to see, it's visible, that they're competent and confident, it trains you to believe that you can do the same thing. That's modeled confidence. But then you think about it, that's a one-on-one relationship. And then there are executives, there are coaches, there are CEOs that drive the vision not only of the organization internally, but of investors. That's the CEO's job, to go and sell the larger vision of what the company is going to do in terms of bringing value to its shareholders, value to its customers, value to its employees. That's a one-to-many transfer of energy. Ministers do this very well. They stand in front of a congregation every Sunday or multiple times, and they inspire people, help people heal, inspire hope. Think of football teams. Now, of course, I'm an athlete, right? So you think of football, you think of sports, right? I think of spirited leaders. I think of Ray Lewis, how his energy is infectious, not only for his teammates on the defense, but from the offense when he's not even on the field, and the play and the fans in the stands in the city of Baltimore. He caused people to believe at a deep level that things can be done that they've never done before. This is organizational confidence. When you have someone who has organizational and able to move an organization, it's through energy states. Because through energy states, when you are one to many, that energy tends to converge very quickly. It catches like a grass fire because you have a lot of people, and that energy transfer happens rapidly. When a captain or a coach consistently models positive, high energy confidence, it affects the team's baseline morale and collective resilience to take risks because that energy reduces like anxiety and panic if they have setbacks because the larger vision is in their minds. And that organizational confidence is a transfer of energy one to many. And that comes through emotion as well as words and consistency from that person. The coach can't be up one day, down the next. We're talking about you as an individual lifting an organization that's done with energy, that's done with intention. It doesn't mean you have to be, screaming like a WWE wrestler or anything like that. It just takes you to be authentically you, and what's high energy for you, the organization needs that. That energy correlates with a higher engagement because people are more confident to bring more of themselves, their authentic selves, to the team. This is what I coach executives to do. I have the confidence coaching clinic. This is for leaders. You can go to romemadison.com and find more on that. The confidence coaching clinic is for leaders. And I teach them to ground themselves with a technique, my coaching technique, to show up in a way that they're comfortable being their authentic selves. And when they do that, that energy translates naturally. You don't have to emulate someone who is higher emotion or more articulate or taller and has a larger presence because of their physical stature. We anchor you in what's true for you, your authentic leadership power. This process of confidence triggering confidence, it's essentially borrowing confidence, to use a phrase. You're borrowing the confidence of someone else to inspire you to do more than you thought you could do. This is true, and I just mentioned through CEOs. This is true in organizations to believe that you can, hit new sales goals or new performance goals. This is true in our faith, right? Those people who are those religious leaders or inspirational speakers, coaches, whoever who can inspire you to a larger vision of yourself and what's possible for you. You're borrowing confidence. And when you're borrowing confidence, the main thing that happens first is that you're unlocking the mental barriers that exist inside of you. And if you can train the mind, the body will follow. I love when I share this story in my keynotes. Again, go to romemadison.com. I'm working on my 1, 2, 3, 4. This is my fourth book. It's called From Tapped Out to All In: 5 Keys to Unlock New Levels of Success. I talk about this in my keynotes. The power of borrowed confidence in the context of coaching, the context of coaches, those people who unlock mental barriers in you and help you do more than you thought you could do. In the 1960s, 2 German researchers demonstrated the gap between the movement of the electrical impulses from your brain to your hands, right? So how long does it take that something happens in your brain to something actually starts in your body, right? They looked at that, and they looked at just simple finger movement in this experiment. They attached electrodes to the scalp of the test subjects to measure their brain activity as they did simple finger movements. And so, I'd love to see this done with AI, but this is the 1960s. These were electrodes, right? They found in their interrogation of many different subjects the relationship between brain activity that can be detected even when nothing's happening. And they would tell them, move your right thumb. And something would happen in terms of activity picking up on a monitor before they actually moved the thumb. It showed that they were thinking about doing it, and the gap between when they started thinking about it and the thumb actually moved. What they found in this experiment was a precursor spike of activity in the brain that on average was 0.8 seconds before the finger actually moved. They called that delay before action happened readiness potential. What areas of your life or your career are you ready to accelerate your results? I think if you're coachable, because this is like, sports is the ultimate, business of winning. That's why we refer to it a lot in analogies and things that we do. But this is true. This concept is just true because it's physical activity, but the concept of coaching is true in anything we do. If you're coachable, your mind and your spirit will open you up to receive information that can increase your readiness potential, get you sharper, get you faster, get you to your goals and the things that you want faster. Of all the sports, the skill of hitting a baseball has been regarded as the most difficult task of all professional athletes. Now, whether you want to believe that or not, that has been the consensus in studies for a number of years, or surveys for a number of years, even with athletes, by the way. But I think about this. Hitting a baseball, I've hit a baseball, hit a golf ball, I get a golf ball. I think golf is much harder than hitting a baseball because I've done both, and I've hit home runs, I've hit in the gap. But you do have to have good hand-eye coordination, and both of them have everything to do with that. But okay, let's just go with what the data says around hitting a baseball being the most difficult of all professional athletes. A Major League Baseball player's hand-eye coordination is believed to have the shortest readiness potential. Going back to the concept of when activity starts in the brain and movement happens in the body. Now, this has been studied. Similar to the work done in the 60s with readiness potential, scientists have also reported the time gap between a batter recognizing a 90-mile-an-hour fastball leaving the hand of a pitcher. They recognize that it is a fastball, not a curveball, not a slider, not a sinker, not a knuckleball. They recognize the position of the pitcher's hand. Some batters can actually look at the fingers in the grip on the ball and look how it's being released. The batter picks it up from wherever the ball is released. It notices the spin on the ball and anticipates where that ball is going to come across the plate. And in that whole time, this time I've been talking, that the hitter recognizes all of this and starts the swing to throw the fat part of the bat to hit the ball. That all takes place, according to scientists, in 0.4 seconds. Okay, going back to the research, the average readiness potential in the research was 0.8 seconds between the time brain activity was recognized and simple finger movements happened. The average was 0.8 seconds. For a Major League Baseball hitter hitting a 90-mile-an-hour fastball, the time from when the brain recognizes that it is a 90-mile-an-hour fastball and they start their swing as 0.4 seconds. The question is, how is a baseball player able to react so much faster than the average human being? Does it come from practice and repetition? Well, of course it does. Does it come because of natural gifting? Absolutely. They're not the average person. But you know what the real answer is? The real answer is much more significant, yet something that is significantly undervalued. The reason professional baseball players are able to react so much faster, their readiness potential is so much faster than the average human being to do the most difficult thing in professional sports. You know the reason? Coaching. Show me anybody who is the greatest in the world at what they do. I will show you someone that has a coach. And not only will I show you someone that has a coach, I will show you someone who's had a coach before they were the best in the world at what they do. Coaches teach and train to recognize the right conditions to apply your skills without hesitation. When you become a master of that skill in the right condition, with repetition, it becomes instinctual. As an executive coach, I build your confidence to make decisions, even when you don't have all the information. I help you trust your instincts. I help you develop leadership instincts, executive instincts, accustomed to being in the decision-making chair. Coaches sharpen your readiness potential. Do you currently trust your instincts? Do you need to sharpen your readiness potential to get to where you want to go faster? If you do, you need to borrow confidence of a coach. Confidence is not bravado. It is not just some random overblown belief in yourself. Confidence comes from that deep feeling of self-efficacy that comes from understanding who you are, accepting who you are, self-acceptance, being proficient in mastering a task, activating your self-efficacy to be self-proficient, and then having a strategy to get it done. Confidence is not arrogance. It is a behavioral lever. If you learn to model it for people close to you, embody it to project it to others, to intentionally project the emotional and informational signals your team needs to believe what you believe and to take action, you need a coach. There's a big difference between good leaders and great leaders. Good leaders inspires other people with confidence in that leader, but a great leader inspires them with confidence in themselves. You want to be a great leader. To get there, you need a great coach. Let's do it. Go to iwantmorenow.com. Get your free books. Everyday Star Power, 12-Step Confidence Algorithm. It's an audiobook. You can be listening to it on your device in seconds. And also claim your star power. 4 keys to start where you are and achieve success in anything you do. Stay locked in with us on the Confidence Coaching Clinic every week, Tuesday, 9 p.m. on YouTube. We'll see you next week.